Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
Welcome to the Frontier Freedom Hour with Jeff Hunt. Sponsored by Centennial Institute at Colorado Christian University. Now, here's Jeff Hunt.
Friends, great to be with you for another weekend of the Frontier Freedom Hour. Jeff Hunt here, the chief wagon boss of this operation. On the board, Kelly Boss Hog Michaels, the guy who runs the show up here in Denver. It's wonderful to partner with Salem Media, KNUS, our friends down in Colorado Springs as well. We cover issues facing the Western United States from a Christian conservative perspective, and we're thankful we're not getting all the government we are paying for. All right, you remember the story because there's an update. We're going to dive into this. Jaden Rodriguez, you remember this guy, the 7th grader at the Vanguard School who was removed from class after administrators said several patches on his backpack were in violation of the school's dress code policy. The patches included the Gadsden flag, which was designed during the American Revolutionary War and features a rattlesnake on a yellow background with the phrase, "Don't tread on me." You remember this video? You probably saw it. Even Governor Polis responded to this, right? This cute little kid, 7th grader, walks. He's sitting down. He's like the most innocent kid ever. He sits down, and you have this like administrator that's just glaring at him, and she's like, "Per the policies of the district, you must remove that flag." And they kind of try to tie the Gadsden flag to racism and slavery, which has nothing to do with, by the way, absolutely nothing to do with. But they tie that there. And then the mom is there with her son, and she's kind of responding to this whole thing going, "No, this has nothing to do with slavery. What are you talking about?" She kind of pushes back, and Jaden's just, totally sweet kid, the type of kid that you would want to raise, right? He's well-groomed. He looks like he studies hard. He's nice and polite. He's not, flying off the handle or anything like this. Very nice kid is dealing with this kind of administration that's come down and just decided to essentially pick out this Gadsden flag and make this an issue. And thank God they fought it. So we have on the line with us, and who's going to be with us for the entire show, is Jim Kerwin. He's senior attorney at Mountain States Legal Foundation. His practice focuses on protecting First Amendment rights, especially freedom of speech and association, curbing administrative overreach, and pushing back against trends that replace consideration of merit with group-based identities. So he's fighting the good fight at Mountain States Legal Foundation. Jim, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's go back to what initially happened, because we're gonna provide an update. This is a very important update because now Jaden Rodriguez has legal counsel for a reason. But let's go back to the original case, right? You have this young boy wearing a number of patches on his backpack, but the school doesn't like it. So give us the background here.
So Jaden Rodriguez, as you point out, is a very impressive young man, and he's willing to speak his mind in the face of cancel culture, really, is what's happened here. But for the basic facts, he's been wearing patches on his backpack for years, going to different schools, beginning in Texas, and then he moved to Colorado a few years ago at the same Vanguard school. And he, through those patches, is saying a little bit of something about himself. He has the Gadsden flag and a variant on the Gadsden flag. He had like a little joke that said, it looked like the Gadsden flag, but on a red background with the words "Don't tell on me," rather than "Don't tread on me," which was, kind of cute for a kid in school.
Right.
And he also, his family enjoys sport shooting as a sport, and they believe in Second Amendment freedoms, and he had various patches related to the Second Amendment. So he had a patch indicating that he was a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition and a couple of other things along those lines. And he wore those to his school for years, in the 5th and 6th grade at this very same school, the Vanguard School, and even years before that when he was at a different public school in Texas. On no occasion did any student ever say they felt threatened by these patches or they felt that there was racism being expressed or anything like that whatsoever. But for some reason, at the beginning of this school year, everything changed with the school administration. We don't really know why, but rather than looking at the fact that over time Jaden had been freely expressing himself and it hadn't caused any problems in school. There was a change of heart by somebody, we don't know who decided that they felt the patches were inappropriate, and so reported Jaden to the administration. There were several meetings over the first few weeks of school where Jaden was repeatedly called into the principal's office, and so he missed quite a bit of class time, unfortunately. So he'd be interrogated about these patches, which weren't hurting anybody. Clearly what happened is that they made somebody feel uncomfortable because that person, whoever it is, was uncomfortable with the idea of a student expressing support for the Second Amendment and uncomfortable with the symbolism of the Gadsden flag as they interpreted it.
But Jim, this is a public school. I know it's a charter school, but technically it's still a public school. Can't we find out who that is? Isn't there the ability in discovery? Are you guys going to go after that?
Oh yeah, we'll find this out in discovery in this matter. That's for certain. At this point, we're in the very early stages of the litigation, so we haven't had the opportunity to get that information yet, but we will.
Good.
So
who wants to take bets on the color of their hair? Do you think that they're? I know we're going off on a tangent here, but I'm guessing they're not wearing a MAGA hat to work each day.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate about who it is, but I wouldn't be surprised. So to get back to the story, Jaden is called into the office, and his mom has to come down. She's got 4 other kids, by the way, and she has to interrupt all the many, many things that she has to do to keep going down to the school to be really interrogated by the school about what's going on with these patches. And there's a series of events. I don't want to go into too fine-grained detail, but he has a set of patches that they complain about. He takes some of them off. The school and the district are still not satisfied, so he has to take some other ones off, and then he switches up the patches, and eventually he's replaced every patch that was originally on his backpack with new ones, including he took off the Don't Tell on Me patch and replaced it with the traditional Gadsden flag patch. And yet again, the school was not satisfied, and they attempted to censor him again. And this time, this was maybe the 4th meeting with the school officials, there was a video made of what happened, and that ended up going viral, which you talked about at the very beginning. So I think many people have probably seen that. But in that video, it's specifically about the Gadsden flag patch, and the school administrator makes the claim that it can't be around other children because it has roots in slavery. And then that, is kind of an outrageous claim, so it's not a surprise that it went viral. There was a huge public pushback against what the decisions that the administration had made, including, as you noted, the governor of Colorado tweeting out his disapproval. And so the school, clearly embarrassed by all of the public attention, did some public relations damage control, and they issued a statement saying that, for now, Jaden will be allowed to wear the Gadsden flag. What they didn't tell the public, that they told the family privately, was that that's only until somebody complains about it, either a staff member or a student. And all of this got started because some anonymous staff member complained about this. There's every reason to think that that's going to happen again as soon as the headlines kind of fade. And in addition, they didn't say anything to the public about all the other patches that they had censored. So the story continues. And that's why we brought the lawsuit. Well,
and I think it's very clear that's how free speech works in America. You have it until somebody's offended, right? I think that says it in the Bill of Rights there, free speech until somebody says no.
Yeah.
So you guys are suing that, and we're going to get to that in a minute. We're kind of up against a commercial break in the next few minutes here. But, I mean, this was very, very quick. I was with the governor the day this happened. We were on a trip down to the Colorado State Fair, and they take a whole bunch of delegations and kind of political leaders and community leaders and stuff down to the Colorado State Fair to support the kids that are doing 4-H and selling their animals and stuff. And so I was on a bus with Governor Polis, And all this stuff was kind of blowing up, and he was pretty quick to get the tweet out there. So to his credit, he kind of came down rationally. The left doesn't always do this, but he came down pretty rationally and said, listen, this is a historic flag. This has nothing to do with slavery, and we should protect free speech. I'm going to ask you a question. We got 1 minute here, but is there a straight ban on patches in these schools? Like, for instance, or would they allow other patches to be there, like rainbow flags, those types of things?
There is not a straight ban on patches in the school. You're absolutely right that the school allows all kinds of other student expression through patches and through accessories. They do have a dress code, so it's not a matter of T-shirts, but there's other ways that the kids are sharing their views. Jaden is the only one who's not being allowed to share his views, and we think that's part of the basis for the lawsuit, which I guess we can get into some more detail on later. But yes, it's a very good question, and the answer is no, there's not a flat ban on patches by any stretch of the imagination.
So that is absolutely critical. That's an important fact in this lawsuit. We're talking to Jim Kerwin. He's senior attorney at Mountain States Legal Foundation, a great organization. They were with us at the Western Conservative Summit. They've helped lecture on Constitution Day events at Colorado Christian University. They've become wonderful friends. We're going to continue this conversation about this case. Jaden Rodriguez, you remember the young boy? He had the Gadsden flag patch, and the administrators came in, created all sorts of problems, drug his mom into this situation, tried to shame him, tried to tell him that this was an inappropriate flag attached to racism, and so he must take it off. But the young boy stood strong for his constitutional rights, and now the case is going to move forward. We're going to get into those details when we return. You're listening to the Frontier Freedom Hour, sponsored by the Centennial Institute at Colorado Christian University. We'll be right back after these messages.